Social gatherings of more than 6 people will be illegal in England for the foreseeable future.
The Lunchtime News with Lucrezia Millarini.
Good afternoon. From next Monday, anyone in England joining a gathering of more than 6 people will be breaking the law. The ban will apply to indoor and outdoor gatherings, including individual homes. Schools and workplaces, however, are exempt. As those restrictions are tightening, the government is coming under pressure over the lack of COVID tests, with some people being told to drive many miles from their home. Our political correspondent Shihab Khan reports. I want to talk a bit more about some of the issues raised in Shihab's report. We can talk to Dr Sarah Jarvis now. Dr Jarvis, thanks for talking to us this lunchtime. Let's talk about testing. Once again, it's in the spotlight. A lot of people not being able to get tests or being told that they have to drive miles away from their homes to get one. Boris Johnson in PMQs just a little bit earlier saying, well, you know what, more people are getting tests and they don't actually have symptoms. Is that a reason? Being directed to drive, in some cases, hundreds of miles away from where you live, it's going to deter people, isn't it, from getting a test? And, you know, getting a test in the absence of a vaccine right now is key. It's essential. Brings us to our next the subject we're going to talk about is this latest measure that comes into force on Monday. No more groups of more than 6. If you do, you're going to be committing crime. Essentially, it's going to be breaking the law. How effective do you think this will be, given the fact that schools it will be exempt, and also workplaces as well? And that means getting to work, so on the trains or on the tubes. To talk to you about trials for one particular vaccine. It's the Oxford trial. Has been postponed at the moment, halted, if you like, because one of the participants became ill. Now, how much of a setback is this? The other positive is that there are so many other vaccines being trialled as well. Some breaking news this lunchtime, and the St Ledger Festival in Doncaster will take place behind closed doors from tomorrow. It was meant to be the first to have crowds on a racecourse since March as part of the government's pilot events for sport. Well, Stacey Foster is the daughter of a British man who may have been the first person outside of China to die from COVID-19 has accused Chinese officials of initially covering up the outbreak. 84-year-old Peter Atwood from Kent died in hospital on January the 30th after falling ill with a cough and a fever. Well, his daughter Jane Buckland says he and many more victims of the virus could still be alive if more had been known about it. And Jane joins me now. Jane, thanks so much for talking to us this lunchtime. First of all, sorry for your loss. You know, your dad passed away at the end of January this year, but you were sick, weren't you? Mid-December, around 15th of December, and that's just slightly before he fell ill. Just talk me through the timeline.
Yeah, so
didn't know at that stage about COVID. I mean, China had alerted the World Health Authority on the 31st of December, but it wasn't something that our doctors were thinking about here in hospitals. I mean, looking back, knowing this information now, it must be incredibly frustrating for you to think that if we had had earlier warning or notice, that perhaps you know, your dad could have been saved.
Yeah, my dad would have.
Still to come. First, in the last hour, the government has published its controversial Internal Markets Bill, which a minister has admitted could break international law. The Irish Prime Minister says he has serious concerns about the bill and plans to raise those with the Prime Minister here later this afternoon. Well, to our political correspondent. Hundreds of jobs are at risk at Pizza Hut after it announced it's to close 29 restaurants. A pack of dogs being trained to detect COVID-19 have been given the royal seal of approval this afternoon. Camilla, the Duchess of Cornwall, visited the centre where they're being trained in Milton Keynes. Medical detection dogs are already used to track diseases including cancer, malaria and Parkinson's. Well, now experts hope they can start to help detecting the virus too. Our royal editor Chris Shipp was there to see them in action. Chris, this is a bit of a different approach to test and trace, isn't it? Well, Chris, could these dogs actually help in the fight against coronavirus? Finally, love it or hate it, it has spawned spin-offs, businesses, billionaires and even raised awareness around transgender issues. But now, after what will be 14 years and 20 seasons, Keeping Up with the Kardashians is ending. The show, which charts the intimate lives of Kim Kardashian and her family, began back when they were relatively unknown. But as Sharon Thomas reports, it's since made them into one of the world's most recognisable and profitable brands.
No.
I'm sure we'll still be hearing about them. That's it. Mary's here with the ITV Evening News at 6:30. The news where you follows the national weather. But from everyone here, bye-bye. And now the main stories in London. An assassin who shot dead a mother of 9 and her sleeping nephew has been found guilty of their murders. Weather now, here's Sally. That is all for now. I'm back here at 6. Until then, enjoy your afternoon. Bye-bye. Tonight, the damning report into building failures that exacerbated a fire that could have been fatal a year ago. Good evening. ITV London has received exclusive access to a report highlighting building failures that exacerbated a fire which ripped through a block of flats in Worcester Park exactly a year ago today. More than 100 firefighters arrived at the scene in just 9 minutes. But even by then, the entire building was in flames and partially collapsed. Like Grenfell, there was a stay-put policy in case of fire. Thankfully, it was ignored by residents, many of whom believe they only just escaped in time. Rags Martel reports. Rags, of course, you've been following the Grenfell inquiry. Seems to be a few similarities here.
That's right. Well, we see at the inquiry almost every day. It's Ryden, Worcester Park, it's Berkeley Homes. And
Rags, thank you. Now, just as restrictions were beginning to ease, a new ban on social gatherings comes into force next Monday. The rule of 6, as the Prime Minister put it, means if you are in a group of more than 6 people, indoors or outdoors, at home or in the pub, you will be breaking the law. It's in response to a significant rise in COVID cases, but it means that families of more than 6 will not be able to meet up, as Martin Stew reports. The family of a London mum and her nephew, who were shot dead in their home, finally saw their killer brought to justice today. Annie Kofer is at the Old Bailey for us this evening. Mark, a really long wait for justice here. Hundreds of armed officers swarmed a traveller site in South East London this morning in a raid targeting suspected organised crime. 6 arrests. The husband of Nazanin Zaghari-Ratcliffe says the new charge against her is just a new stage in a long-running political game. Yesterday, Nazanin was back in court, told her that she faces a new charge and trial this Sunday. Well, her husband Richard joins me. A police officer has been found guilty of gross incompetence today after she failed to act on claims of harassment by a teenage abuse victim shortly before her death. A disciplinary hearing heard PC Sophie Dennis failed to fill out mandatory risk assessments for Katerina Makinova. Chloe Keeley was at the hearing for us today. So, Chloe, what more can you tell us about this?
Well, 17-year-old Katrina. Now, the panel said that both of them.
Thank you. Now, to celebrate their 10-year wedding anniversary, Jackie and Raymond Cohen had booked a holiday cruise of a lifetime. Due to COVID, though, their trip was cancelled 132 days ago, but they are still waiting on their refund of more than £6,000. Well, they are just 2 of more than 800 customers now furious with Wimbledon-based cruise operator still holding their money. Ria Chatterjee reports. Sport now, and repercussions for Owen Farrell's red card in the rugby. Owen Farrell has been handed a 5-game ban for a dangerous tackle on Wasps' Charlie Atkinson last Saturday. Now, we're in September, which means it is officially autumn, and Sally is in Paynes Hill in Surrey. Now, how many of us set a few lockdown goals earlier this year, whether it was getting fit, learning to cook or practising a new language? But what about creating an entirely new career? Well, Katie Barnfield has been speaking to 3 women who, in the last 6 months, have turned a side hustle into a successful business. And that is it. We are back with the latest after ITV News at 10. Coming up, Mary with the ITV Evening News, but from me and the rest of the London team, bye-bye.